we have the next speaker who was doing the track hosting for all of us before and who will be continuing with all of us after his presentation today. So let's welcome Sumit once again. Hi, Sumit. Are you
Hello,
there?
Rituraj. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Sumit. Yeah,
Hello.
so today he is going to speak on the topic artificial intelligence, machine learning, and testing. Things to look out for the future. Are you ready? Sumit is an automation test lead at Vodafone Global Enterprise. He leads the test automation team. And when it comes to publishing the white papers, writing down the blogs, and sharing the knowledge across the community of testing, DevOps, automation, he always contributes to the fullest of his efforts. And then he always tries to be the best version of himself that I know personally. So let's welcome him once again, and then all ears in to listen to you, Sumit. Over to you.
Thank you, Rituraj. Will you be managing to admit people in the lobby? I
Sure, I will
can.
be doing that.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. Thanks. Let me take a screen back from you, Rituraj, and let me share the screen quickly. If you can just confirm me, it's visible.
yes, it is.
All right, perfect. Well, once again, thank you, Rituraj, and thank you everyone for coming on the weekend and spending time here with ATH GTR. And I see from throughout the day, I mean, so many engaging talk and the enthu from the participation audience is amazing, right? This topic is very close to me and close to all of us. I really believe. And when I started my PG in AI/ML, I really thought to bring some of the insight about AI/ML. One thing which I learned from my senior and everyone is after only knowing the insight of AI/ML, we can really talk about it, right? This topic, I will try to keep it simple because I know there are so many technical words coming in. So I will try to quote little bit example in terms of testing, which we all are familiar with. Even if you don't get anything or few of the things, set back, relax. You can reach out to me. I will try to answer in more detail how AI/ML can help you particularly in automation because I come from that domain. Okay. And yeah, taking you through the world of AI ML, and I will start little bit from something in terms of agenda. The first part, I really like the history. So I will be talking about evolution of software testing. Okay. And somehow it will connect the dot between evaluation and today in the evaluation we are in AI. So does it really make sense, right? We will be touching base on overview of AI, ML, and deep learning. I know a lot of people know about AI, ML, but in sense how it works is what I'm going to demonstrate. Then some of the approaches of machine learning. It will be a little bit technical, guys. So don't worry, it is just algorithm. The way we have learned probability in our college days, something similar you can take off. And then the most heated topic, right? Do we really need AI? And if yes, then what are the use cases? So that's about the topic. Let me quickly start with the evaluation of software testing, right? Uh, so I will not take much time. We know we started with manual testing, functional testing particularly. Then there was a decade when a lot of heavy automation tools in the industry came. They were kind of a EXE, you are deploying them on your own system. They need more servers, heavy configuration and bulky in nature, right? Sort of record and play if we can, go back and recollect. Then came an era where the complete software testing methodology altogether changed, right? We know about DevOps, we know about Agile, right? So we wanted faster, we wanted quicker, early feedback loop, right? So that is where a little bit, I would say, in terms of automation, we can now call it as a advanced automation, right? And the need here was scaling, faster automation, faster deployment, and quicker result, right? That is where right now I would say probably 4 5 years back we were into, and now we are kind of collapsing with the artificial intelligence. And believe me, it is not a buzzword, right? In so many automation tools and framework, a lot of small features are actually inherited or basically getting developed with the AI technology. And what I foresee and everybody of us foresee is like after some period of time, a lot of and most of the features will be driven by AI/ML, right? No need to worry what happens after that. That also I will be going to cover. So by evaluation, we are overlapping. We are into the AI based business and agile and DevOps business kind of overlapping. So let's first try to understand what is AI. Okay. So artificial intelligence, this is from the Wikipedia, right? So it is basically an intelligence demonstrated by machines as opposed to us human. Okay. But that's actually a goal. Uh, Actually, AI does everything by its own subset, which we call as a machine learning. What is machine learning? So this is the place where the algorithms comes in a picture. They play the role, right? So it is a study of a data, right? So we all know data scientists, data science, data, right? So these things comes in the machine learning space where a lot of data is getting gathered, collected. Now, depending upon the problem context, right? If it is a medical problem, maybe you need more accuracy. If it is just a problem of saying, a potential customer will be a fraud. I mean, whether he will repay the loan or not. So kind of 80%, 90% probability is also fine for us, right? So depending upon the context, we will decide which kind of a machine learning we need to go for, right? But for now, let's understand AI actually works by machine learning, and machine learning comes with a lot of algorithms, right? And it has its own type, which we will quickly see. Then comes a subset of a machine learning, which we call a deep learning, right? So here a basic neural network or a CNN comes in a picture, which is an advanced machine learning to be able to give us a real-time result. For example, when we talk about reinforcement learning, right? We want autonomous vehicles, right? So at runtime, we need to take a decision and take a call. So it is not like you have a data, historical data where you are playing with the algorithm and you are creating something. It's a runtime data also playing, right? So deep learning, where the pictures, audio, speech, these things will come in a picture, particularly if you are dealing with voice related things. That is where it will help you, right? So now a little bit pause here to understand when it comes to machine learning what generally happens, right? So in nutshell, in the four principle, you get a data, you clean up a data at the second stage. Once you filter a data, it may be you need to refilter a data, recollect a data, which you will do. But once you have a data, then depending upon the context, you will be playing different algorithm. So it is not one algorithm you will be playing. The data scientists use different algorithm, and then they arrive at a particular probability or whatever the desired output, they call precision in terms of their F1 recall score. They will arrive to that point, and from there they will deploy that into the production. That is how the machine learning works, right? So let's see what are these approaches, how machine learning looks, right? So now we are going into the machine learning business, right? It comes into the threefold way. One is a supervised learning. A very simple way to understand supervised learning: we all know weather forecasting, we know stock market exchange, we know about defect prediction, right? So these things will come into the machine learning of supervised. How supervised learning basically works, it looks for a problem statement, right? If your problem statement is trying to talk about regression, right? Weather forecasting, stock market, fraud detection, then fine. If you are talking about the classification problem, right? Whether this potential people will leave the organization, will this potential customer will leave us, as a customer. So this kind of a problem statement will come in supervised learning, right? Now, again, if we go back to that previous slide, right, which we have seen in the machine learning, what will happen? There will be a specific algorithms designed for supervised learning will come in a picture. So I'm just giving you those names, and no need to worry for now. But these are like logistic regression, your plain regression algorithm, your decision tree, supervised vector machine. So this algorithm will come in play, and then you will be doing a supervised learning. Now, one thing to note here, particularly in supervised learning, guys, is here your output is defined. You know what you want to achieve, right? So you have input data, output data. They are the labeled data, and then our objective is to somehow find out the output, right? So here things are pretty much clear, okay? But then comes another interesting thing, and I think that is where the more AI comes in a picture, which is the unsupervised learning. Now, what happens in the unsupervised learning? We don't know the output, right? So we work on the hidden patterns. We get a data, we play algorithms on it, we try to derive some hidden patterns, some conclusion, maybe some kind of associations, right? And then we try to cluster the thing, right? So maybe cluster these people who can be in an age group of 15 to 45. Cluster, we understand the word cluster, right? Similarly, when we are doing clustering, we may need to do a dimensionality reduction. What it means, a very simple way, I will try to explain you. You have a lot of data, right? You have 100 of columns, but really, do you need to work on 100 columns? No, no. So at that time, you will be removing those columns to be able to come to a particular data column or maybe the input which are significant, right? So that is what the unsupervised learning. And again, the way machine learning goes, you have a sophisticated algorithm here, you have a KNN, you have a PCA, which will come here, which will play here a role, and then you will be doing unsupervised learning. Okay. Uh, then comes a reinforcement learning, a very popular nowadays where if I want to take an example, autonomous vehicle, right? So you want to take at runtime decision. Just try to relax and understand this topic like with this example, what is reinforcement learning? Every time you are getting a complex situation, every time you are getting different input, and at every time at runtime, you need to take a decision, right? Autonomous vehicle driving, right? So that is an example of reinforcement learning. Again, a very complex deep learning algorithms comes and play a role here. So that is what the machine learning, like. So far we understood AI ML in more detail, not just what is AI ML, right? And once we know there is a data, there are algorithms, then it makes time to understand, do we really need it in automation, right? What it has gonna do in automation, right? So I really wanted to take this very simple with one of the very good way, like let's learn, do we first need AI in automation? And if we need, then what are our current challenges? Now, particularly, I'm not keeping all the challenges here in terms of automation. We have lot many challenges, but specific to the challenges which might be addressed by artificial intelligence and the machine learning, I'm trying to quote it here for you. So first is the skills, right? You might ask what is the skills and why Sumit is asking skills here, right? We have a skills, we have a skill resources, we have automation expert in a team, but end of the day, first, if you don't have skill, then that is your first problem. But let's consider you already have a skill set, right? But what after the skill set? End of the day, we are a human. When it comes to code review, when it comes to finding the pattern, strategizing, defect prediction, we cannot do it, right? So machines can work 24 by 7. So here this kind of a skills and capability, which I missed to add in the slide, is something where AI can really help us. Second, maintenance. I know most of us will agree with me. One of the peculiar and the most frustrating problem in the automation industry is maintenance. And again, maintenance is not just because of the automation tool; it is because of the skill set, and if we are missing the best practices. But hey, come on, let's consider we have the best practices enabled, we have the good team member, but still you cannot control the applications, right? So if there are changes in your DOM, if there are changes in your XPath, in your page load, if there are instability in your application, you cannot, right? And even if you can, then how much time you will take it to fix it, right? You are a human, end of the day you need machines there. Third thing, scaling of the automation. Now here it could be a controversial. You may agree or disagree with me, but honestly, I really feel we have faced in automation. But when it comes to actual scaling of the automation, by looking the current trend, speed, and the requirement from the market, it's not matching, right? And if you need to match in that, then really the AI tools and the AI related technologies are driving the force, right? We will see that in the use cases how they are helping us, and of course it will need more effort. So that is a one subject topic, and then the test coverage. Now, when I was really working on AIML and I was thinking about the test coverage, right? I really wanted to go back to our definition of test coverage, right? That you have a requirement, you create the test scenarios, and then you say your test coverage is done. Well, that is not the case right now. Now, what the demand says that the actual user scenarios, the end users are doing. Are we documenting it? Are we testing it, right? So the patterns are coming here, right? And when we talk about the patterns, design patterns, AI comes in a picture. We will see in one of the use case of autonomous testing how AI and ML can help you to derive such kind of scenarios which your end users are using and you are not documenting it, right? and then a test data. I have seen a lot of topic today, and specifically in performance testing. I know my team and everybody struggle a lot on the test data, right? So here, I will tell you some of the use cases which offline you can read, where how AI ML can help you to create a test data, particularly API test data. It is gonna help you, and also it will also tell you really you need test data in this area or not in that area. So you no need to work on the base of the demand, rather you want to start working based on the projection or what is coming in future, right? So that is what I think. By this slide it is very clear that we need AI, and particularly to solve this test automation problem which are there in front of us, right? So now let's see some of the areas of AI in software testing. I know some of the areas you might already be knowing, but let me try to cover one by one. Self-healing test automation, right? When we say self-healing test automation, what it actually means is you have your XPath, right? Let me take an example of DOM. So you have a page load, your XPaths are getting changed. You want a strategy by which your artificial intelligence machine learning algorithm, which are deployed in your automation framework, can read the changes in the into these objects HTML or DOM path and can fix it. Now it could be just DOM, it could be some other way, because not entirely every automation is working on DOM. Some might be using CSS, some might be using directly some other locator strategies. But self-healing in test automation can be achieved by using artificial intelligence in the right sense. Then comes AI-based API automation testing. I have already covered, so I will not speak too much on that, but you can use AI-based technologies to create your API automation, particularly when we really talk about the microservices, right? So there, it really makes sense to use AI-based framework, which can work on the API and microservices to understand, the association, correlation, and the responses. Then AI-based test data generation, we have already talked. Yeah, I think I will take a little bit more time here in spidering AI, right? So spidering is a technology which is very famous nowadays in development community. What it does is it scroll, it take crawls and it takes your pointer to the product application, right? And then it tries to go back to the previous version and the another version and see the pattern recognition if there are any changes, and then to be able to tell you which kind of scenarios are missing. So spidering area AI, offline you can read more about it, but spidering AI is one of the thing to look for, and it is really helping in terms of creating autonomously our automation script. Okay. Visual testing, no need to say, when we talk about visual testing, the earlier pattern of doing a visual testing, right, where you compare the first report with another one, when you do matching. Well, it is not working nowadays. What is working is, as I mentioned about CNN and deep neural network, right, wherein there is a sophisticated algorithm which are taking control of your entire web browser application, and then this kind of a computer vision technologies are helping us to do a visual testing. Something of the topic, not in AIML, but I really feel that if you bring visual testing in your testing, right, you're actually doing more testing just compared to regression or a progression, because now you are doing more check, more validation, alignment, and everything, right? And might be you can bring some more less maintenance. So that is what about visual testing. Autonomous testing, it is about, I know, how you can create the missing scenario from the production. So we will see in the use case, so I will not cover now for autonomous testing, but for now consider, if you want to generate a scenario, a missing scenario, then we can go for and we can use autonomous testing. Defect analysis and prevention, always a talk topic, right? And I want to give a little bit more emphasis in terms of a word prevention, right? So we just don't want defect analysis like you are using a data, you are using statistics, then you are using that data and statistics to tell which are the area where the potential defect might come. That is the one object. Another thing is a prevention, and when it comes to prevention, then you really need to deal with the machine learning algorithm, not only just analytics, but more on top of that. And there are some case studies and white paper available on Google in terms of finding out how we can do and implement this in our own organization. Then smart automation suit selection based on the analytics and trend. Now this particularly I have added because I really feel that when it comes to testing, for all of us, it is always like test everything. Okay. And every time. Okay. I really echo that. I really respect that. But then I feel when it comes to AI, AI can help us in one object where to put more energy, right? And where to form a smart suits. We just don't want to do everything. We want something analytical, reasonable, and that is where the smart automation suit selection can be done by AI analytics approach, and then it can tell you what to run, when to run, and what not to run, and it will save our energy resources. So that is also one of the point which I particularly thought and added to look for, particularly in software testing, how AI can help. So these are just some of the things, guys, which I really thought that when we talk about this topic, then let's talk about the AI and then think how we can match AI related features of your framework, tools, strategies to mitigate this problem, right? And that is where AI can really help us. Okay. Now let's go back and quickly see the use cases. So the use case number one is autonomous testing, right? So what happens in autonomous testing is we have a production environment, and in an environment of production, what we do is a pattern recognition, right? So you deploy those kind of algorithms in those environment, and they start doing a pattern recognition. Now they understand that these are the scenarios, these are the flows which are recurrent, users are working on it, maybe there are some potential defect raised by the production team on those scenario. So all these things gets captured, you get that backtrace data in the autonomous testing, and what happens next, once you have a data, right? By now we all understand, once we have a data, then correct data, simplify the data, clean up the data, then what happens, start using the machine learning algorithm to make them train, learn, understand, and then use this data to be able to do what, which we want, right? Create the missing useful scenario. That's a very good example of AI, guys. Believe me, this is getting reused a lot. So autonomous testing using AI is one of the thing to look forward. Then another things, few of the things I would particularly say is a computer vision, right? Now computer vision is one of the things in AI ML. Now what happens in computer vision is you are using it for your visual testing and pattern recognition. Now what happens is more checks than the functional testing. I think I have talked about this topic, right? Because what happens now, consider a scenario, you want to write a code. Okay, I will take a pause here, a logical understanding point of view. We want to write a script for one page having a 500 lines of code, right? What we are doing there, we are doing a login, we are checking the login button, and then we are trying to verify the login button, and then maybe whether the user profile is correct or not. That's it, right? What if I tell you replace this with visual testing and have just one line of a code by automation visual testing tool, which is completely verifying your page, right? So you are not writing a code, rather you are doing full verification and more verification. Now it could be a tricky, right? So it could be a tricky, but what I'm trying to mention here is that if you smartly use this kind of a thought process, right, might be one thing is helping other thing, and maybe you're not doing a maintenance, so maybe you have your sanity checks completely done by visual testing, and that is where AI comes as a rescue. Second thing is the report analysis. I know along with me and every one of us like the reports, want to understand the report, and now we want to know what these reports are talking with us, what these reports are taking to us, right? So what we want from that report is analytics. We have a data, reporting data. We want to use the analytics. We want to maybe do some kind of a defect prediction. We want to do a defect classification, clustering example. If you remember, we talked in the unsupervised learning. So defect classification, and after that might be you want to use this kind of a data to be able to take some kind of a organizational business decision to be able to strategize your complete testing strategies, right? So that is where again AI can help you. Better locator strategy we have already discussed, and I have seen a lot of tool where nowadays when people are writing the code, right, and maybe they are not master or they don't have that expertise, maybe particularly something which comes close to me is XPath. At that time this kind of a tools are giving you a recommendation, they are giving you alarm that no, this is not right, maybe use this kind of a XPath. And I really feel that is good, because if you are not coming as an expert and you have a pressure of delivery, then AI comes as a rescue hand there for you. So self-healing automation, better locator strategy, smart development, and learning the page load at runtime. This is also another example. And something which nowadays I really thought of talking is traditionally the way we used to do a code review is also getting changed, right? So there used to be a team, one person is doing a code review, then peer-to-peer code review. But when it comes to AI full-fledged, right? So smart code analysis are getting done by the tool and they are giving you a recommendation, right? So what I really see that, when it comes to deep learning algorithm, smart code analysis are coming in picture. There are plugins, there are some kind of utilities which we can use, and maybe they can talk about some kind of a potential issue which may arise in the future. So that's about some of the use cases. I am really sorry, I need to go a little faster because I have all these things to talk and I have just 30 minutes to talk, guys. So that's about the use cases which I wanted to share with all of us. Now quickly, when it comes to summary, right, about AI ML, and which I want to share with all of us is what AI is. And I think one of the question which always I get from most of the people is, okay, AI is there, what about our jobs and what will happen, right? So I really wanted to go back and tell you, when computer came, same thing happened, right? It's not like that. All the technologies are here to help us if we are using it in a right context with the right direction. So AI is here to help us to increase our efficiency. I hope all of you agree with me. With the AI, we are increasing our efficiency and we are increasing our quality of the product. Second thing is, AI will enable us to focus on the creativity, which I particularly really like, and things we can do better, right? So always machines and things are here to be with us, to be able to do the task which is redundant, where we as a human cannot do much beyond our capacity. Maybe we cannot work 24 by 7, 365 a days. That is where AI can help you. And then you get a time to work on the creativity, where you have a domain expertise, talk about the report, talk about the business, strategize these things, and that is where AI will help you. AI is not limited to software testing. I think by now we all understand AI is not only limited to software testing, it is everywhere. And it is not only in testing, but also testing methodologies, software development lifecycle, and all in our product. So we need to know about it. And something which I quoted as a quick summary is, it is for good. We started with the evaluation, if you all remember, right? Evaluation from manual testing, bulky automation tool, scalability, advanced automation, and then the last part was AI, right? And all this change is for good. So if the change is good for good, embrace the change, accept it, and use it in a positive way. So that's it from my end. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Awesome. Change is the only constant thing in the world, as you say. Good. I really liked many insights and valuable pointers which you have covered in today's session, Sumit. We do have one question from Ankur where he's asking you, can we have bit detailed view of Spider AI, how it works? You're on mute, please unmute yourself.
Sorry, hey Ankur. So Ankur, I will just quickly tell you how it works. So basically, spidering is a technology, first of all, okay? So spidering is like your mash of spiders. So with the spidering technology, what happens, the development team particularly, they crawl to a particular XYZ application which they are interested into. And after crawling, what they do is they try to compare the pattern from the previous release and the next release, and from that difference they understand which kind of automation scenarios are missing, and then it help us at the next stage to create our own automation script using this AI technology, right? So that is what combination of spidering AI technology to be able to write our automation script. I hope I answered your question, Ankur.
Yeah,
Yes,
me
Sumit,
too.
Sumit, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
Good,
details.
good,
Nice
good,
session.
good.
Thank you.
thank you.
And that's the
Any other
real-time
question?
feedback which is coming in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I can ask you one thing because we are working
please.
on algorithms like BM25 and TIDF. I don't remember the exact names because it's like the developers who are playing around with it. But then, if we look at the implementation of chatbots or virtual assistants where we
Mm-hmm.
are making use of AI ML, every
Mm-hmm.
time we feel that that particular machine learning model needs to be trained over a period of time, right? And then it becomes really difficult for the development teams, engineering teams, to explain this thing to the leadership, saying that it is going to take sufficient significant amount of time to train that model. So
Okay.
any quick tips you would like to share so that we can enhance this experience
No
and then
shortcuts. No
convince
shortcuts.
leadership?
No,
Uh-huh.
no shortcuts, Rituraj, first of all. But I come from an organization where I get a lot of support from my leadership. It's all about how I convince, okay, and how I put a real data in front of them. The thing which you just mentioned about a chatbot, I will just tell you three things and you will understand why it is important. If you don't know AI/ML, the chatbot is different for you. You remember I talked about a clustering where we don't know in unsupervised learning what to do. Okay, and chatbot is about that, right? So what here you want to do? You want to do a clustering, whether the question is about HR, whether a user is asking about admin, whether a user is asking about software installation. So you want to cluster that problem statement into something. Part one is done. Part two, from there, you need to start using deep learning, NLP, natural language processing. Then you need to see whether the words are correct, harsh words are getting used or not, whether the user is saying thank you. If thank you, or maybe yo, I am fine, whatever 10, 5 or different word that we call a bag of dictionary. So I am really telling you, Rituraj, it's all after the learning, right? And believe me, after learning only, I can say it is really going to help us. And by using this combination of second NLP and first bag of word and clustering problem, then you can create a chat box. And it will need time. It will need data. It will need your domain. And now if you take this problem to the leadership team, I am sure they will give you a data backup and the team to support you. And believe me, algorithms are ready. That takes just hours. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Maybe
all
a
about
follow-up
data and yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. True, true. No, maybe a follow-up question on that. We have this text to speech, speech to text, and everything. And
Mhm.
then when it comes to, I have seen things in Azure Cloud, like they have the inbuilt services which we can make use of. So, as a machine learning professional or as an AI explorer or practitioner, the person who is trying to learn AI, ML in development, testing, where our focus needs to be on tools, technologies, or learning the core of it.
Core of it. Tools and technology will keep, I mean, I will not say technology, but tools will keep changing. Rituraj, you know better. The only thing is core. As I have mentioned completely, this topic was about telling the our QA community what is really AI ML is, right? So don't directly start in AI ML and say that this is AI ML tool, I want to use it. Ask the question, do we have this support, reinforcement learning? Which algorithm is support? Whether I can do coding in Jupyter Notebook or I need a Google Colab only, right? So if you know the problem really, understand the technology like AI ML really, then you know it's a really a cakewalk. People are using it, right? And then I'm telling you, Ritiraj, and to everyone, the most important and significant times goes is in a data. Okay. Data collection, data manipulation, data cleanup activities, and all. Once the data is ready, you just need to fire the algorithm, and maybe out of five, one algorithm will give you probability of 90%, and you will say done. Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
nicely summarized. Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe if someone doesn't know anything about inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction, uh, even if they can make use of Java, .NET, Python, any object-oriented programming language. So I could correlate this concept with that concept which you just highlighted upon, right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
core is always important.
And sorry, just 1 minute. I will again take. Let's try to understand AI/ML from something which we learn in our college days. Probability. You know probability, right? Tossing a die and whether a head or tail will come. That is the same thing here, boss. And we are just extending it. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah, very well said. Example of probability, simple thing to be
yeah.
focused upon. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you so much, Sumit, for sharing those insights with us. And I really like the flow of content, especially the points where you try to emphasize upon both theory as well as practical solutioning point of view kind of things. So really a good session. And then thank you so much for sharing those wonderful inputs with all of us.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks to
everyone.
all of
Thanks.